Alright, so let's do part 2 here and do a couple different types of problems, which are bond valuation problems. Now this is using the financial calculator, so it may have been a little while. And as you saw in the first part, I brought this guy out today, woohoo, which is the cheaper one that probably a lot of you have. Okay, so let's look at number 8. Mark has a treasury bond with a par value of $30,000 and a coupon rate of 6%. The bond has 15 years to maturity. Mark needs to sell this bond, and new bonds are currently carrying coupon rates of 8%. At what price should Mark sell the bond? Okay, let's think theoretically here for a minute first, because this question is basically trying to get your attention on something. Okay, the coupon rate of Mark's bond here is 6%. That means that it pays, right, 6% of its par value in coupons. Now, what's 6% of $30,000? Well, we might as well write it down since that's a part of the problem, part of the calculation here anyway. 6%, this is number 8, 6% times 30,000 is $1,800. Alright, that's the coupon amount. Right, so we'll be using that in a moment, so we just put that aside for a minute. But 6% is his coupon rate. That's what he makes, right, in interest rates, in interest payments and coupons every year. Now, it says in the second sentence here that new bonds are currently carrying coupon rates of 8%. Do you remember my description of this in our slides here when we talked about the yield? The 8% that you're seeing there is the yield. The best and easiest to me definition of yield when we're learning about bonds is that the yield is the rate that comparative or competitive bonds are paying, the coupon rate of those. So Mark's bonds are 6%, new bonds that are just like his are 8%. What does that mean? That means the new bonds look better, right? I'd rather make 8% than 6% as an investor. So what ends up happening? Well, because Mark's bonds are only carrying 6% coupon rate and the new bonds, the yield, is 8%, Mark's bonds are going to sell at what we call a discount, right? The par value might be $30,000, but Mark's bonds are not really worth $30,000 now because the 6% interest that they pay isn't as good as the 8% that's out there available on the market. That's the risk of bonds, that's the interest rate risk of bonds, is that when bond yields or competitive coupons go up, like they have here, the value of Mark's bonds goes down. To what degree? I don't know. We'll solve the numbers here in just a second, but it goes down. And that's the danger when we've been talking about buying bonds right now when interest rates are so low, is that we have a feeling that rates are eventually going to go up. They have nowhere else to go. And so a lot of the hesitancy about buying bonds right now is that, oh my goodness, if you buy them now and rates go up, the value of your bonds goes down. This is a good example to show how that value goes down, right? The par value of the bonds, $30,000 in this case, the par value is what we call the future value, is FV, or future value, in the calculator. So the par value is always going to get the FV classification when we put this in the calculator. That's $30,000. We figured out how much in coupons Mark's bonds pay every period right there. That's what we call the payment. The coupon payment. Remember, payment is the annuity structure in your financial calculator. If you're going to get the same amount every year, $1,800 in this case, that same amount, time after time after time, that same amount is an annuity, or in the calculator parlance, the payment. So $1,800. Okay, now those are both inflows that Mark's going to get from his bond, right? He's going to receive $30,000 at maturity. He's going to receive $1,800 each year. So these are both positive. These kind of implicitly have plus signs on them. How many of these $1,800 coupons is he going to get? Well, it depends on how many more years till maturity this has. They have 15 years to maturity. That means he's going to get 15 more of these $1,800 coupon payments, one each year, and then at the end of that period, $30,000. Okay, so what's the missing pieces here? I want to know what this bond actually is worth today, or in the terminology here in the problem, at what price should Mark sell the bond? That might be better stated to say at what price could Mark sell the bond. Okay. We don't know that. We're going to find that out. The missing piece that we have to know, though, is the IY, right? I mean, this is our calculator buttons, N, IY, PV, PMT, and FV. We want to solve for a present value, which is the current value of Mark's bond. We have an N as 15. We have a $1,800 payment. We have a 30,000 FV. What's the yield, or the interest rate? That's why it's I/Y, because it means rate or yield. 8%, right? That's the definition of yield, is the bond, is the rate, the coupon rate that comparative bonds are paying. So we'll put in 8 for interest rate. What's the PV? All right, so let's just type it in. I turn the calculator on. I hit cancel. Now I hit second, and then I hit clear TVM up here to clear my time value of money. And now I put in the pieces: 15N, 8 interest rate, 1,800 payment, 30,000 par value or future value. Compute PV 24,864.31. So the answer is 24,864.31. Okay. Now it gets a negative sign on the calculator because that's the value or the price of the bond today if you're an investor. We could have set this up separately because we could have done this more from Mark's perspective as a seller and said, well, he would have to give up or put a negative 1,800 and give up or put a negative 30,000. He could sell it and you get a positive 24,864. I'm not going to screw with you to that degree in terms of what I ask, but that's the reason that the sign is negative if we solve it this way, or we could flip it, put negative 1,800, negative 30,000, and get a positive value. All right, let's change the numbers slightly and do number 9. It's going to be very similar, though. It's Mark again. Well, what if the Treasury bond in the previous problem had a coupon rate of 9% and new bonds still had an interest rate of 8%? All right, so look what would happen. All we're going to do here is change one thing. We're going to say still 15 years, so this is number 9, still 15 years. The yield is still 8%, those newly issued bonds, still 8%. The payment changes. The future value does not. They still have a $30,000 face value. Okay. We're going to be solving for the PV again, so we want to know this. The payment is now, instead of 6% times 30,000 like we did up here, now it's 9% times 30,000. It's now $2,700. $2,700. So now what's the price? Now can you figure out what's going to happen now? This was a discount bond up here in number 8. The present value, the price, was less than the par value. Why was the present value less than the par value? Because the coupon rate of 6% was less than the yield. That's what makes it a discount bond. Here we've totally flipped it on its head. Now the coupon rate is 9%, making $2,700 the payment amount. Now the coupon rate is greater than the yield. What does that mean? It means this isn't a discount bond anymore. This is what we call a premium bond. So the price that we get, the value of the bond today, the price, will actually be more than the $30,000 future value. So let's plug that in and show it. So I'm going to now do second, clear time value of money, like we always do. Now I'm going to do 15N. 8 is still the interest rate. 2,700 is the new. Whoops! I just screwed up. All right, so cancel, clear. So 15 is the N. 8 is the interest rate. 2,700 is the coupon payment. 30,000 is the future value. Compute present value. 32,567.84. Okay. 32,567.84. And again, you'll get a negative sign on this if you put in positives for payment and future value. Okay. That's a premium bond, as it should be. it's worth more than the par value because the rates that it pays in coupons, 9% or 2,700, is greater than the prevailing market rate today of 8%. This is why we say that when bond yields go up, prices go down, or when bond yields go down, prices go up. Yes, in both of these, the yield was 8%, but what really matters is the difference between the yield and the coupon rate. Right? So if you were in a situation where you had a coupon rate of 6% and the yield went from 8 up even higher to 9 or 10, this value, this present value, this price would get even worse. It would go down even more. That's why when you're holding a bond, you'd like to see rates go down, not up. If it goes up to 9 or 10, this value goes down. If the rate goes down to 7 or 6, this goes up. All right, that's the idea there. All right, that's your Chapter 16 stuff. There was no Chapter 15, but do both there's no Chapter 15 practice for me to show you, but please do go and do both of your homework and quiz for Chapter 15 on stocks, your homework and quiz for Chapter 16 on bonds, and we will see you for one more set of lessons next week. Bye.